For the first time in VR46's history, neither rider in their 2027 lineup is expected to come from Valentino Rossi's academy. Fermin Aldeguer is confirmed, and Fabio Di Gianantonio looks set to stay. Both Ducati contracted, neither developed in Tavullia, neither a product of the system Rossi spent over a decade building. The yellow bikes will still be there. The name will still be there. But the one thing that separated VR46 from every other satellite team on the grid, the pipeline, ends in 2027. So why is nobody saying that out loud? And what does VR46 actually become when it stops running its own riders? Let's be honest about what the VR46 Riders Academy really was. Most people looked at the team and saw a Ducati satellite outfit, yellow paint, factory backing, a famous name on the pit wall, but that framing misses everything. The Academy was founded in 2013 with one purpose: take young Italian talent and turn it into MotoGP riders. This was Rossi's answer to a grid that had been taken over by Spanish riders for a decade. It was personal. The death of Marco Simoncelli in 2011 triggered it, and Rossi wanted the next generation of Italian riders to have a real structure behind them. Not just talent, not just access, but a system that could take a 17-year-old and build them into a world-class competitor. And from the moment VR46 entered the Premier class in 2022, every rider in that garage was a product of that system. Luca Marini, Marco Bezzecchi, Franco Morbidelli. The team and the academy were the same thing, one fed the other. And in 2027, that connection breaks for the first time. But the story of how it got here is the part nobody is telling properly. Because the pipeline didn't run dry because it failed. It ran dry because it worked so well. At Misano in 2020, Franco Morbidelli won the race. Bagnaia finished second. Rossi himself was knocked off the podium on the final lap and dropped to fourth. He stood there watching his students celebrate on the top two steps of the podium. The man who built the academy, the man who had won 9 world championships, watching 2 of his riders collect trophies while he packed up behind them. The greatest MotoGP rider in history, fourth, behind the kids he made. I'd argue that is one of the most revealing moments in Rossi's post-riding career, and almost nobody treated it that way. And what he said next tells you something about where the system was already heading. He said, "We bred snakes." It was a joke. Rossi laughed when he said it, but I don't think it was only a joke, because that line is the first public signal that the system had already passed the point where it needed him. The riders were better. The academy had already done what it was built to do, and Rossi was still racing. The creator had been overtaken by the creation. And maybe he already knew it was only a matter of time before that showed up in the team's lineup too. And 2 years later, in Valencia, in 2022, Francesco Bagnaia became MotoGP World Champion, the first Italian champion since Rossi himself in 2009. A rider Rossi took in at 17, moved to Tavullia, trained at the ranch, guided through Moto2 and into a factory Ducati seat. Bagnaia said the academy gave him everything: the environment, the mentality, the structure. Rossi said afterwards it had been a long time coming, and that Bagnaia's success was the best possible outcome for the academy. It sounded like celebration. It was, but I think it was also the moment the mission reached its end point. A world champion produced from inside the system. And once you produce a world champion from your academy, I'd ask you, what exactly is left to prove? And this is where it changes. Let's not forget what Rossi said when asked how it felt to watch his riders reach MotoGP. He said, "I'm trying to give back what motorcycling has given to me in my life. It's been a long road, but we've managed to bring 4 riders to MotoGP. We managed. Past tense. Not we are building. Not pushing forward. Managed." I noticed that word, and I don't think it was accidental. It sounds less like an active project and more like a completed one, a man describing something already finished. And if the person who built the system is already speaking about it in the past tense, what does that tell you about where the pipeline was really heading? The answer, it turns out, was sitting in the 2027 rider market. The graduates left one by one after that. Bagnaia departed for Aprilia. Bezzecchi won his biggest races at Aprilia, not VR46. Marini moved to Honda, and Morbidelli is almost certainly gone after 2026. Each exit made complete sense on its own terms. Better opportunities, factory contracts, natural progression. But step back and look at the pattern. Every rider the Academy produced reached MotoGP, proved himself, and moved on to something bigger than VR46 could offer. And the team that was built to platform those riders is now filling their seats with Ducati assets instead. That is not a coincidence. That is not just evolution either. That is a conclusion. So let's look at what this actually means. People will see the outgrows signing as smart team management, bringing in a proven talent, upgrading the lineup for the 850 cubic centimeters era, making hard decisions. And on a pure sporting level, they are right. But this was never really just about rider quality. VR46 didn't exist to run the best available Ducati riders. VR46 existed because Rossi had riders who needed a MotoGP platform. The Academy and the team were built as a single system. And oh yeah, there is one thing the Aldeguer announcement made official. When that system no longer needs to feed itself, when the team can fill its seats without the Academy, the relationship between the two doesn't just evolve, it ends. I don't think that's a business failure. I think it is, in its own strange way, the most complete success story in MotoGP's recent history. But it is still an ending. And does MotoGP actually understand what it's losing? And endings always have costs that take time to see. Clearly, make no mistake, the yellow bikes will be on the 2027 grid. The Ducati partnership continues. Aldeguer is a genuine talent, and Di Giannantonio has been outstanding through the early part of 2026. The team will compete. The team will score points. But VR46 without Academy riders is just another satellite team. It is Gresini with a different history. It is Pramac with a famous name. And the thing that made it different, the reason Rossi built it, the reason the Academy and the team were the same project for over a decade, that ends quietly between seasons, while everyone is focused on the 850 cubic centimeters regulations and the new tyre supplier, and the latest transfer story. Let's be honest about what that is. It is the most Rossi ending possible. Build something so completely that it makes itself unnecessary. Watch it continue without you, wearing your name but no longer carrying your purpose. Is that the ending he intended when he started building in 2013? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.